The second lesson is it's important to understand that you have to have a three-point plan in order to be successful. An organization needs to commit on three fronts, and the first place to start is executive leader development. At the end of the day, leaders need to lead. And if the leaders are not seen as the champions of this, then the transformation becomes very, very difficult to execute. Now, developing leaders sounds very, very simple, but it's not, because executive leaders are typically in place because they've done such a good job in the past. And so convincing them that they might need to change their way of doing work can become a very, very big challenge. But without the leadership supporting this effort and being leader as teacher, you're not going to be able to get the cultural transformation that you need. I was working with a client in Europe. They had 3 sites in Europe, and the leadership team there was in agreement with the lean transformation, but they didn't actively participate in it. So what happened was the transformation work started at the middle management level and tried to explode outwards. Well, of course, that didn't work, because after a certain level of success was achieved in the transformation, the senior leadership team now no longer understood what the middle management people were talking about, because they weren't part of that process and they weren't part of the circuit of participating and being leader as teacher. So working differently is often underestimated, but this is a very important step that needs to be taken. The second piece of the three-point plan is to execute focused frontline activity through strategy deployment. It's important that everybody be focused, going in the same direction at the same time, using the same type of thinking. This is what really spawns the foundation for being able to bring the other foundational tools to bear. And this will make a little bit more sense as we get farther on in the webinar today, because there's a little bit more detail around that. But you have to have a thread that goes from the top of the organization all the way to the front line that's going to focus the organization and get everybody on board to do the same thing. The last thing, of course, and the thing that's often underestimated, is the Lean Coordinator Network. A Lean Coordinator Network is simply a handful of embedded experts inside of your facility. They typically will spend extra time with your consulting coach in order to get advanced knowledge of Lean, so that they can help with, in addition to the coach, they can help guide the organization through their Lean transformation. In my experience, working with organizations that don't invest in people for a Lean Coordinator Network or their embedded experts, it's very, very hard for them to maintain momentum if the consultant is not there. And the reason you want your embedded experts is because at some point, you don't want the consultant there anymore. You do not want to create a dependency model. You want to create a relationship where the consultant supports self-sufficiency for the organization, and yet is still available to go away and come back as needed later on. You don't want them there full time, because there's no benefit to that. It can't be a person-dependent process. It has to be a system-dependent. And so it's very, very important to have a Lean Coordinator Network. Where I see organizations do a good job on Lean Coordinator Network, they thrive. Where they don't, they do not thrive. So all three of these elements are really, really important. I'm working with a hospital right now in the United States that has a very, very strong Lean Coordinator Network. There is very little that they can't do. And in fact, they are out in the community supporting Lean transformation for businesses out in the community, that they're so strong. So this is exactly the leg on the three-legged stool that you need to have to be successful in transformation.